Hi, you're watching A Crafty Mouse. I'm Mouse. Today we're going to be starting seeds. So some things to consider when you're starting seed is where you're going to get your soil from. You can always purchase soil at your local garden center. If you have some potted plants that didn't make it, you could reuse that soil. Now if you're going to do that, I would recommend adding some Epsom salt as fertilizer. Yes, it does actually work as fertilizer. If you have a yard, you can always start a little compost pile in the corner, toss in your kitchen scraps as far as your vegetables, fruit plant, any plant matter, and your yard waste, anything like that, and end up with free soil. What we'll be using today is worm castings from my worm bin. If you haven't seen my $6 worm bin video, I will go ahead and leave a link in the description. That way you can check that out later. The next thing to consider would be your seeds. You can, of course, always purchase those at your local garden center. That's usually $1 or $2 per packet. A way that you can get your seeds for free would be by saving the seeds from the fruits and vegetables that you're eating. So say you purchase a cantaloupe, go ahead and scrape out the seeds, rinse them off so that they're clean, and then lay them out on a paper towel until they're dry. Once they're dry, you can go ahead and store them in an envelope that you've labeled with what the seeds are and when you collected them. Another option for free seeds would be if you have any friends who garden, go ahead and ask them. You'll find a lot of times gardeners are very generous with their seeds. The last option would be seed exchanges. You can check locally for a seed exchange that you can visit, and a lot of times you'll find that there are gardeners who will have extra seeds that they're happy to part with even if you don't have anything to trade. And you can also check for online seed exchanges, and there will be some gardeners who will send out the seeds as long as you send them a self-addressed stamped envelope. Now that we have our soil and seeds, we need to decide what we're going to put them in. If you're going to be making a lot of plant starts, I would recommend doing soil blocks. For that, you just need a soil blocking tool, and you would mix soil, sand, and water in a container, compress it in here, pop them out onto your tray. This is the smallest size. They come in multiple sizes. You'll notice that it has little indentions in the top for you to put the seeds in. And then each size up has an indentation in the top that's big enough to fit the size below it. That way, as your plants grow, they're getting the correct amount of moisture and air to really help them grow. Another option is you can go down to your local garden center, or sometimes you can get them at the dollar store, buy some pots. These were 50 cents each. So if you're starting a lot of seeds, that could add up quickly. Get my free soil. In a seed. A less expensive way to buy pots for your plants would be to buy plastic cups. I got 24 for $1. Put in some soil, the seed, and labeled it with some masking tape. If you'd like a small tray of seed starts, you can get an ice cube tray. I got 2 for $1. So that'll be 32 seed starts for $1. And then I'll just go ahead and put my seeds in. And go ahead and make my label. Now, since I have all the same type of seed in this tray, I'll just put one label at the end here. If I had different seeds, I would put the tape here and label each individual cell. If you've bought plant starts, you can always reuse the container, just refill it with soil. And place your seed inside. Another free option is eggshells. You simply take your used eggshell, add some soil, and place it back in the carton. Then add your seeds. And give them a little water. Once the plants have grown, you can take them out to your garden, just crush the eggshell and leave it in the hole with the plant. That'll give it extra calcium. You can also, once you've run out of eggshells, you can use any of the paper cartons to plant in those. If you get your eggs in flats, that's very easy to plant into as well. You just add your soil. And you can plant in whole rows and place a label at the end. Or you can also cut them into sections for however many seeds you want of one type of plant. You can use milk cartons, juice boxes, and empty bottles to make planters as well. Just cut off the top, fill with soil, and just put your seeds in, start, label them. The last option I have for you is newspaper pots. Now if you don't get the newspaper, you can always use your junk mail. To make these, just open up your junk mail. Find a container that is the same size that you want to make your pot. In this case, I'm using a baby food jar. Lay it down on your paper, fold it over, and go past the midpoint part on your jar or container. That's going to make sure that there's enough room to fold over and make the bottom. Let me cut the strip. And to find out the length you need, go ahead and roll the jar along until you get to the amount of overlap you'd like, and then just cut straight across. And that will give you a template to cut all your other strips from. I like to fold over the far end. That way it gives it a little more strength when I roll it up, and I don't get any paper cuts. So we're going to roll it up, keep it nice and tight, and that way it will hold together better. Okay. Now starting at this edge, we're going to fold over the bottom. Remove our jar. And fold down the top. This will give it some added stability as well. Then we're going to take our pot, put it in the palm of your hand so that it's stable and the bottom doesn't fall out, and fill with soil. On the tray. Now with this type of pot, I would not recommend using masking tape. What I would use is a popsicle stick that I've written the name of the plant on, and just stick it in there. Also, you don't want to use a watering can and water from the top. It'll all come out the bottom. So you can either spray it with some water or pour the water into the tray that you have it setting on. That's it for seed starting. If you do try out any of these ideas, please comment below. Let me know how it turns out. If you want to start making your own worm castings, I will leave the link to my $6 worm bin video in the description below. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. If you found it interesting or useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Happy gardening!